Srikal, good morning. Namaste. Very happy on this Saturday morning to welcome all of you to our first edition of the Punjab Dialogues. The Punjab Dialogues is a collaboration between Sanjhi Sikhiya, Kirrt, and MAJHA House. And through this, we celebrate the spirit of the regeneration of the land and the people of Punjab. To give you an idea about the three groups that have come together right now to create this forum, let me tell you in a very brief introduction to all three. Sanjhi Sikhiya is a growing community of people who are inspired to bring change through acts of service. The group came together to connect and collaborate and to bring the ideas they believe in into practice. Kirrt is an online gallery showcasing the works of artists and artisans of Punjab. And MAJHA House, literary and cultural hub, has been set up in Amritsar 2 years ago for giving a platform to people, an easygoing, liberal place where you can come and discuss and debate. And we try and provide a place where you can come and talk about socially relevant themes and critical issues. So these are the three groups that have collaborated for putting together the Punjab Dialogues. And as we go along, I am sure we'll have many more groups with like interests and like-minded people who will come together and join us as we make this much more collaborative and inclusive. I just want to set a few things out right in the beginning. This is how we planned it right now, and because this is the first edition, and we will go along learning as we go from edition to edition of these dialogues. I want to say two or three things. First, of course, is the fact that please use whichever language you feel comfortable in. There is nothing to keep you bound either to English or Punjabi or Hindi. Please just feel free. You can speak in all these three languages and it's all fine. This is the first session, so of course it's a learning and it's also an experiment, and we may go beyond the stipulated time that we have put down for you. I hope you will please give us that time. And so let's just get started now. This platform is an opportunity for all of us to listen and to learn and to see things differently. We aspire to produce and disseminate pro-people knowledge and to build interface and linkages. On this newly created platform, collaboration and action go hand in hand. We make networks and connections across the country, and we learn from wherever we can. We strive to bring ideas together on domains as different and as diverse as environment, culture, politics. We place Punjab center stage, and we look at getting on board innovative, path-breaking resource people and practitioners on the ground, activists who will take these ideas forward. We don't want to just talk, we want action. And our 90-minute first session of the Punjab Dialogues will give you an opportunity to listen to the speaker and to connect with the larger community working towards systemic change in Punjab. Our first speaker today is Amandeep Sandhu, whom I think a lot of you already know. Many of you may be familiar with his work as well. And we thought he's an excellent choice to be the first speaker this morning because his new book, Punjab Journeys Through Faultlines, lays a foundation for the critical discussion, for the kind of critical discussions we hope to initiate over here. The very list of the chapters in his book could be a very good starting point for us. There are chapters which talk about faith, water, land, loans, caste, anger, and much, much more. Amandeep's book is nuanced, it's multi-layered, and it's very detailed. And to my mind, it's a unique account of contemporary Punjab, warts and all. It's a wake-up call. And as you read in one of the endorsements to the book, I think Hartosh Bal says this, Punjab post-militancy is in crisis. The first lines in the preface that this book has also grabs your attention right away. Because what Amandeep says, the couple of first two lines in the preface are, if you want to understand Punjab, be ready to count its corpses. It's a really hard-hitting sentence. And he has quoted that Danish, a photographer from Amritsar, said this to him when he set out on his journeys to find out what Punjab was all about. And this is what we also want to hear from Amandeep about. So let me just welcome Amandeep to this first session and ask him to please take over now. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Sat Sri Akal. Thank you, Preeti, for the introduction. Thank you, Simran. Thank you, Preeti. Thank you, Gurdeep, Jasdeep, for creating this platform. I have been much in awe of Sanjhi Sikhiya, who started doing the work in Punjab, because I earlier worked with a group called the Gandhi Fellowship. And I would always ask them, why isn't such an effort happening in Punjab? And Preeti ji has been very kind to me right from even before the book came out, and also helped me showcase the book in Amritsar. And I'm glad to be friends with MAJHA House. Gurdeep, Jasdeep are really part of my journey itself. I wish they had started Kirrt at that time. Maybe the chapterization of the book would have differed. But Jasdeep, I normally joke, is the Jathedar of Arts of Punjab. Anybody who wants to access Punjab, I feel benefits a lot by going through Jasdeep. I can't see myself, but I hope I'm audible to others. Yeah?
You should be able to see yourself as well.
Yeah, no, the screen had gone black. So
okay.
Okay, so
you're audible. You're audible now.
Yeah, thanks. If the voice is lost, just raise a hand or let me know. This is a new medium. I'm also trying it for the first time. And I'm very thankful to everybody who has joined in on this Saturday morning. Lockdown is a strange state to be in for a country like ours. We'll come to that a little later. But coming back to the book, until now I have done 2 books of what I call autobiographical fiction, in which I was trying to map the madness which existed in my family, and then the madness of Punjab, which happened in the years rather. These were dark days. There are various points of view on that struggle that we undertook in some ways. And I was growing up in a military school in Punjab at that point. And I wrote out my own dilemma in the second novel that I made. First one is called Sepia Leaves, second is called Roll of Honor. And then I had this need to go back and look at what happened to Punjab post-militancy, 25 years after militancy, in a way 50 years after the Punjab state was formed as we know it now, 75 years after independence almost, 100 years after the Akali Dal and the Gurdwara movement had happened, 150 years after the Singh Sabha was created. So, and 175 years after the Maharaja Ranjit Singh Empire was lost to the British. Punjab has been every 25 years or so, it goes through a huge change. And I wanted to understand that if the target of ending militancy was to bring peace in Punjab, has peace returned? And I started with an open mind, but I was very surprised to see all that I have tried to put into the book. I felt Punjab is seething with discontent. In some ways that all of us are taking time to come here and talk about this book and these Panjab dialogues, which I'm very hopeful about. Because in some ways my book, I had hoped that if my book can lead to conversations, that would be a great thing. And I'm so thankful to everybody who has invited me for this. I'll start by talking briefly about why is Punjab spelled with an A and what are fault lines, because sometimes that confusion happens. So Punjab is spelled with an A because if you look at the original spelling of Punjab, they come from Persian, written by Ibn Battuta, who was a 14th century traveler from Morocco. And he called the land Panjab, which is 5 waters. And when the British came, they distorted the spellings because they, for some reason, could not say the Panjab and all such names. And I felt that some ways a writer's job is to reclaim language. And let's reclaim the original spelling of Punjab, because even in Gurmukhi, it is spelled the way it is spelled in English here in the book. But that also raises another question in my mind, which is that shouldn't names represent the things that they are talking about? And in that sense, then those 5 rivers are no longer the reality of this Punjab. They are the reality of the larger Punjab, but more than half of it is in Pakistan. But then that raises another question, that if you have to change this, then why would you call India, India, or Hindustan all as well? Because 2/3 of the river Indus flows in Pakistan today. So I'm trying to problematize language. And that is what a writer tries to do, is to engage with language to turn out what are the real meanings of the things we are saying to ourselves. And I feel that Punjab is full of broad brush strokes. Everything becomes a hawa in Punjab, it becomes a major boogie. And then after some time, everything dies down. And then whenever I personally feel that there are people and there is a state, and the state comprises of various elements, and people also are very, very different and nuanced, but the state then uses these bogies to whiplash Punjab in various ways. Even if you look at this coronavirus going on right now, I just wrote an article last week that, what will India face post this contagion? India would face hunger, and massive hunger. And which is the state that for the last 60 years is standing between India and starvation? It is Punjab. Even now it contributes 39% wheat and about 28% rice to the central pool. So Punjab will once again repay its due to India, and it will save India from hunger to the extent it can. And this was also one of the first references I heard in Punjab when I started exploring it. I heard farmer agitation say, ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਇਆ ਸੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਤ੍ਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੇਖਦਾ. And this is a big reality because Punjab's water issues are huge, and we will come to that in the chapter. But I'm saying that this is how Punjab always has stood up. And this is not new. This is not about independent India. This, if you look at when there was no country like India today, 3,000 years back, Punjab was the gateway to which anybody would come into the center, from Central Asia into the Indian subcontinent. And Punjab has forever been playing this role of the guardian, of the gatekeeper of the Indian subcontinent. And this, to me, is a very resonating theme about Punjab, this resistance that is inside, inbuilt into the psyche of the people. The second word that I wanted to focus on is fault lines. Now, fault lines is a term taken from geography. It is a term that means that those cracks in the rocks where earthquakes take place. In some ways, rivers are also fault lines because at least the Indus River is, because this is where there is a gap in the plates of the earth, and this is where there's a low depression in the ground, so the river starts forming there. But it is also a place where an earthquake can take place. And I was looking at what are the issues of Punjab. There was a choice I had to make, whether to use these bogey terms through which Punjab is whiplashed all the time, or to look a few levels deeper and try to understand the real issues and how they make sense to me, and I wrote about them. The difference between writing fiction and non-fiction, in my opinion, is that though those fiction were also autobiographical, they were autobiographical fiction, but in fiction, there is a narrative truth that you make, that you establish. And once you establish it to the reader, you can take the reader anywhere with that truth. There are famous magical realistic writings, even realistic writings, which take the reader on a roller coaster journey. But you can't do that with nonfiction. With nonfiction, what is required is solidity of evidence on the ground. And we all know Punjab now, and we all know how poor is Punjab in data. You know, we don't even get that data from even government sources or even, you know, any kind of evidence. In fact, what the government does not have, the universities are trying to have in Punjab, you know, and doing studies, coming up with numbers and on whether it is suicides or it is how many farmers are below poverty line, how many are small, how many are marginal, all sorts of studies universities are doing, but the government itself does not have the data. And that to me was a big issue with how to talk about Punjab. And this talking about Punjab is what has created, in my opinion, or at that time when I set out, was a huge word map which does not make sense to each other. And ironically, Professor Puran Singh said, Punjab vasda guruan de naate, you know, and Shabd is such an important aspect of Punjab. And this Shabd, and it's not only for one community or the other, you know, for most monotheistic communities like Islam or for Bible, for the Christians, the book is at the center of it. It is the same with Sikhs also, because Guru Granth Sahib is Shabd Guru. It's the same with the Deras, where Naam Charcha is such an important aspect of getting initialized into a Dera. It is also important for Hindus because the bhajan, kirtans, the mantras are all based on Shabd. And yet this Shabd, which is a representation of the reality of Punjab, is so different in different minds that I needed to sift through all of them and come to a way of collecting them together to be able to make sense of it. So I thought, let me look at testimonies of people. What are people saying? And broadly, I found that people are really in three groups. And when we talk about these three groups, we ignore two huge aspects of Punjab, and I will mention those again also here. We either hear the Sikh hurt at how India has treated Punjab, how India has treated the community, and there is a lot of lamentation in it, and there is an anger in that. We hear the Hindu anxiety in Punjab, in which they say, oh, this is a majority religion, you know, and we are neglected here. And then there is a left narrative, which is not religious, but has gradually started seeming like the state narrative. And so there is mutual animosities between these three kinds of narratives. And yet to me, what is very important to understand was also that what are the women's narratives? What are the Dalits' narratives? Punjab is 31.9% Dalit population. Women are half of our society. So even testimonies then become a sort of a landmine that you are negotiating while trying to understand Punjab. And that bewildered me again. I'm like, where is Punjab? What is Punjab? How do I understand Punjab? And that is why what I did is two or three things which were very important to me is I decided to, with all that I knew and much that I needed to learn, I decided if possible, if I could go to a way of philosophy actually in Europe, but maybe it's even possible, is to go into tabula rasa state of mind. That I am not going to raise questions to whatever narratives, accounts I'm hearing from others. And it's impossible to do that. The mind filters all the time, it filters. But I tried to get into that place. Second thing I decided was that and part of this is also that I'm not going to shoot the messenger. Anybody who meets me, there might be a history to that person. There might be things that person might have done which the state does not look at positively. I am not going to judge. I am going to listen to the account. For me, the account is more important, and the messenger, or where the messenger falls in these, what I earlier explained, three spaces, is not that important. I need to bring a listening ability to Punjab, to be able to hear Punjab. The second I did is, I decided not to sit under the shade of any tree and understand Punjab. Because Punjab is very, in that sense, also vibrant. Because there are these old people who have tons of experience in their life. And then you sit down to interview them, and they can go on for hours and hours and hours. And they have a whole philosophy of Punjab of their own, to give to you. And it would have been easy to fall into or sit in the shade of any one such big tree and write an account of Punjab. But I decided, no, that is not what I want to do. The third thing that was very important to me was, when you listen to Punjab, or you listen to people's stories, or you witness events, you realize so much of Punjab is trapped in its past. And it's a very hallowed past. There has been great struggle in the land. There's a birth of the Sikh religion as well. There are heroes of various kinds, even in the independence struggle. There are these stories. There is this past of Punjab, which Punjab very happily goes and sticks into and says, this is Punjab. But I'm like, no. That was then. What is now? What have we learned? How are we going to deal with what is going on the ground now? And when you come to that, you will look at social media, or you look at how people talk about it, you realize that they're mostly saying what should be and not what is. They always say, oh, green revolution, oh, diversification of crops should happen. Hello. Can't Punjab know that diversification should happen? But how will you tell this to Punjab? And do you know why diversification has not happened? Do you know how constrained the farmer feels by the market system, which has been created by this neoliberal ideology of India? But it is always, there is like do tuk formulae for everything, Oh, Khalistan, bad, 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 But what were the aspirations of Punjab region? And you know that in the 70s, when the Anandpur Sahib resolution was made, the Jan Sangh and the Akalis were together. After fighting for 2 decades over language, they were the together government which was brought down, And it was a mutual aspiration of Punjab, which went against the Congress government, and that's why it got a bad name. And then the Akalis' role in the emergency, and then the Dharam Yudh Morcha and all that. But the document is actually not wrong. What it has is a huge preface full of religious stuff, which was of no use really, because you're not really making an argument. But that is when the diversification of crops was talked about. That is when the reason why there is no industry in Punjab was questioned. That is when taxation structures were asked to be eased. But yet, the way, and I understand that after such long struggle, after so much, which is whether partition, whether the militancy movement, whether before that the independence, whether it is the wars that Punjab fights those wars against Pakistan, right? I mean, we have the border. We have the plains border where the fights happen. With so much tragedy, Punjab is on a short fuse. I understand that. But the dialoguing doesn't go ahead because everybody has fundas to give, but nobody tries to understand why is what is as it is, and why is Punjab in this log jam. So I decided to not do either tabula rasa or sit under it, to be a tabula rasa, to not sit under a tree and explore Punjab on my own, and to not judge Punjab, and not to be caught either in its past or on its simple, easiest solutions that come up. We know a political party also in this period when I was traveling in Punjab between October 2015 and assembly elections 2017, February. There was a new political party coming up in Punjab who knew every problem of Punjab, who could solve every problem of Punjab, and yet something happened, right? So I feel what is required is due diligence. And when we try to cut short on that, that is when we fail, because we don't understand the ground reality of Punjab. So this was something that I did. And that's why Punjab became really more than a region or more than what leads people. It became an interrogation of myself also. It became an interrogation of the biases I carried with me. I was born far away from Punjab in Odisha, but I was born in a Jat Sikh family and I had not seen caste. I was like, oh, Sikhi doesn't believe in caste, so there is no caste in Punjab. But once you get to Punjab, you understand that caste plays a big role. So these were my biases. These were what I was trying to impose on my head, that this is what Punjab is, but it is not that. It is something more. So the method I really adopted was to, when I was talking to friends and journalists and others, some of them were kind enough to invite me to write articles. See, there is a crisis going on in the country. There is a funding cut in media. Reporters are not available. We are not getting good stories on the ground. There is a media bias. We all know that. But the way it worked for me was that the caravan said, when you're traveling, file a piece every month on whatever you are seeing there. I tried to do that. Scroll asked me, Hindustan Times asked me. I kept writing for various media. And when I had written out these pieces, I realized that they will not, there is no need to put them in a book again now. You have written those pieces have gone out, they were important perhaps in their time. There is no need to make a book. But then I realized if I have to now talk about Punjab, each of these pieces will not make sense without covering a bit of the contextual history of these issues that I'm noticing on the ground. So I started reading up, I started bringing in contextual history into it. And then when I looked at the contextual history and the reportage, I realized, is this enough? Is this a book? Why would anybody read it if it is not personal, if it is not my own experience? So I then brought in memoir into it. And when Preeti ji says it's a nuanced or layered book, it is because it is building up like this. It has reportage, it has contextual history, it has memoir, and then it has, of course, real travels. I traveled about 150 days and nights through Punjab, and I was very thankful that not a single night I had to either pay for food or for sleep. I would be in any village and people would accept me, and I had just Deep's car to guide me around, take me around. I would want to pause a little bit before I come to what I understood also, but just read out the names of the chapters, because I think that is the purpose of why we are meeting here. We are not meeting for the book alone. We are meeting so that we can start a really vibrant Punjab dialogue. And I propose from my side that perhaps these 16 chapters, out of them 13 issues, perhaps these are the ones that could make for a platform on which people would want to converge on this idea or that idea, think through this idea or whatever. Please feel free to reject some of these if it doesn't make sense to you. Please feel free to add more in future conversations so that we all have a platform. And I am very happy with working with Sanjhi Sikhiya, MAJHA House and the Kirrt is that I'm able to do what I really wanted to do with the book. So the first chapter is called Sucked Wound, because this is where I go and meet an activist, a leftist activist in his time, Satnam, because he wrote a book called Jungle Nama about 2 decades back, and it was a fantastic book on Bastar. And I thought he's the person who can guide me to write a book on Punjab. At that time, book also was not an idea. It was just that I want to meet him and discuss Punjab with him. So he set the ground for me. I also met Satpal Danish a few months later, actually, though I brought it into the preface, because, you know, if you remember, I told you I come from a family which had madness in it. My mother was diagnosed schizophrenic. And I sort of have a sense of how mental health operates. And I realized that, everything that I was seeing breaking in Punjab when I started traveling was October 2015, when there was a Chitta Machhar, the white fly incident in Malwa, and then the sacrilege incidents on the back of this one. And then there was just breakdown. And I was like, I'm trying to hold something aloft in my head and it is cracking. And when Satnamji said to me that to understand Punjab, you have to count its corpses, the whole thing turned around. I was like, oh, wow. Now I don't have to hold anything up aloft. Now it can fall and I'm going to count it on the ground. And it made immense sense to me when he said that to me. So that was the preface in the first chapter, Sat, wound, Berukhi. So when we talk of green revolution, when we talk of agriculture, when we talk of storage of grains and all that, I feel the issues are not those, because green revolution in my mind happened actually in the earlier part of the 19th century. In 1890s, 1870s, they started doing the canal colonies of Punjab when Pakistan, Punjab was part of this Punjab. The Rawalpindi, Montgomery, and all those areas were developed, canals were taken there. To me, that was changing the modes of production of Punjab. Of course, we were being made the granary for the British Empire. We were extending ourselves up to the Russian border through railroad. But that was the revolution. What I saw happening in the 60s, or the way I understand is a revolution on steroids. We started giving pesticides, insecticides, all sorts of chemicals, hybrid seeds. And this is what has created the calamity, which now Punjab knows as the, after effects of the Green Revolution. Illness, cancer, mental health, shortage of land, and not enough value in produce. So is this the problem, or is the problem something else? To me, the problem is the apathy of the state, or the way when somebody is producing, and as I said earlier, we are going to produce even now in the quarantine time and in the coronavirus period, we will still not get the attention that we should get from the center and the state, so that the conditions of agriculture can become better in the state. Because ye to kaam kar rahe hain na, inko karne do. Why look at them? Why do anything for them? They will still produce. They're bound to produce. What will they do without producing? That has to change. That is Berukhi. Then there was a sacrilege incident, as I said, and that showed me Punjab's anger. And there is this whole history of anger of Punjab. And yet this was an anger which was non-violent. Because they were, and all the communities were together. In fact, until the Bargadi Morcha a few months back, in Bargadi, all religions were supporting the issues that came out of the sacrilege incidents. And the sacrilege was not happening of one Dharam Granth or another. It was happening of Guru Granth Sahib, of the Gutkas, of the Gurdwaras, but also of the Ramayana, also of the Quran, also of the Gita. And I said, this is being carpet bombed. And there is certainly something much bigger here at stake. And remember, this government came about to solve those issues. Until now, 3 years have passed. Nothing has happened. Nothing has really moved on the ground. And the case goes to CBI, is pulled back from CBI, goes to SIT, comes back from SIT. The judges keep moving. Nothing changes on the ground. And this is problematic for me. Then there is rogue, illness. And I look at rogue of Punjab, and this is important to establish here, which is another part of why we are doing the Panjab Dialogues, is that what I found deeply ingrained in people was that, there was a breach of trust between a citizen and a state. And for my generation, for an earlier generation, partition was the reason, but for my generation, it was Operation Blue Star. And I go and quote how Rousseau describes the state and how Rousseau describes what is the social contract between a state and a citizen and what broke. Then there's a chapter called Masculinity, which is again this alpha male of Punjab. And I was very intrigued by all the Gupt Rogue Dawakhanas all over Punjab. There are like thousands of them. What is this masculine weakness, Mardana Kamzori, what we call in Punjab? And what is the alpha male, the soldier, the farmer, the transporter, the player? What has happened to that masculinity of Punjab? And yet how masculinity is a trope among Kakajis and all this popular culture, the songs of it that keep blaring all the time, of the Sidhu Moosewalas and like. And I was like, what is going on? What is happening to a sense of being human, a sense of being male? What has gone on? And Punjab, as we know, is deeply feudal, deeply patriarchal. As I earlier said, that women and Dalits are still not accounted for in stories. In fact, my book also has not done full justice to them, I would say, because I'm trapped in my gender as well. Then there is dawa, medicine. And again, I bring in my understanding of what is medicine and what is poison and what is drugs. And it is, to my understanding, always a matter of proportion. And that proportion has gone wrong in Punjab. And in a very lay sense, we can look at it that what the Punjabi farmer did with his land by bringing in all these pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers to it, he's also trying to do with his body by injecting himself with all these sort of things. But that is one aspect. But the other aspect lies in law, and it lies in the NDPS Act. And the third aspect is cultural, is that Punjab always believes, or its state always believes, that discipline and punish is what is going to work. More police is good governance, but it is never. Discipline and punish will not help with drugs. In fact, in Portugal, in some countries in Latin America, where countries have fought against drugs, they have done it by sensitizing people, by creating employment opportunities. If you have 40 lakh youth in Punjab, Sanjhi Sikhiya is going to do great work with the youth. But this is just one drop in the ocean. There is so much more required. Then there is pani and water, which I thought was very important to discuss because I wanted to understand what was this Reorganization of Punjab Act, what were the clauses put in there, why has this demand for river waters coming up again, and I explore that in that chapter. Zameen is important because almost everything in Punjab is about Zameen. It's such small tract of land of the country, 1.5%. And yet how we die for it, how we fight for it, how we struggle with it. And if you look at even partition is Zameen, even being gateway of the subcontinent is Zameen actually. So then there is Karza. One was the Badal narrative, 2.25 lakh crore rupees Karza on Punjab. And then there is the other narrative of so many small and marginal and even big farmers. If I'm not really wrong, more than 75% farmers of Punjab are in debt. So what are we really doing when we call it the granary of India? So much is linked to that. Caste, it was a huge revelation to me. I'm thankful to Randeep Maddoke, who took me around with him, told me stories from his life. And then it was as if a veil had just dropped and I just started seeing it everywhere. And it shattered me. Patit, because I am born, I have my hair cut, I'm not practicing. And suddenly the Gurdwara Management Committee decides that I am no longer Sikh. I'm now Patit. I'm thrown out of the religion. And I'm like, what is religious identity really? What forms religion? I personally liked a book a lot of Harjot Oberoi called The Religious Boundaries. Then there is border. Something which is very important to Punjab is that we look at it as a border state. We look at it as what are the peculiarities of being a border state. But that is never really acknowledged about Punjab. And I wanted to travel the border very sadly, but at that time, but also this is where I felt that maybe there was something involved in my journey in Punjab at that period. The Uri attack had happened and the government had asked the farmers to move back 10 kilometers from the border. And that gave me a great chance to look at the lives of the farmers on the border and what has happened to them. I asked them a very bad question, actually. I asked them, out of 7 times that I could count, which is 47, 65, 71, Operation Brass Tacks, Operation Prakram, Kargil, and now Uri, which was the worst moving back? And they were like, 71 was the worst, because that's when we had moved back and forth for 3 months, and then we were told nothing would happen, and then we were moved back again. The 71 war started. And I said, which was the best moving back? And they said, 65. And like, why? They said, we were just sleeping in our homes, and suddenly middle of the night, we see army having crossed over and started fighting. And then we just stood there and we stood by the army, and we participated with them. We cooked for them, we housed them, we gave them everything that they needed. And that is how India won the war. And I'm like, these are the people who are going to win the wars for India. This war that has become a huge vote gathering tactic for a right-wing government of India. It is not fighting the war from Delhi, from Mumbai, from these TV studios. The wars will happen on the ground, and it is Punjab which will fight. And does Punjab want to fight? Punjab actually wants to make relations better with Pakistan. It wants to create an ecosystem in which, we don't see each other as enemies any longer. And yet it is Punjab's aspirations which are always crushed by the nation state to drum up a jingoistic narrative for nationality or whatever we call it. Punjab, as I say in the book earlier also, is an outlier state of India. You can see India from Punjab and get a very different understanding of India than how it is in other states. Then there is Sikhiya, which is very close to me because I spent time in schools, I met teachers, I met students, I met Anganwadi workers, and I realized 2 things: that the neoliberalism didn't really help Punjab. It did not help an agrarian society. It created these mandi boards and stuff like that, but not more than that. But it devastated 2 primary roles of the state. One was education and one was health. The health outcome we are now seeing in this COVID-19 times. Education is what Sanjhi Sikhiya works on. And I feel it is so important to build society from the perspective of education and health and food security, and then job guarantee. These are the things that we need to do for society, but then we are not doing it. The neoliberal state does not do that. And that is why many said that perhaps this COVID-19 would be a change time for India. Sadly, I don't see that happening because we have already communalized the virus. We are only fighting more and more games over it now. But the work that Punjab needs to do to build its education is very important. I have another argument in that section, which to me is very dear, is that when we look at Punjab as language, recently there are Siddha Lakhana and others, they go painting boards black and doing things like that, which is fine, that is their way of protesting. But I feel that unless the Punjabi people, and this is not about any one religion, but unless the Punjabi people start loving their mother tongue and start functioning in their mother tongue, I believe that any citizen anywhere in the world should be able to operate in their mother tongue, their birth language. And then from that, they can build anything else they want to build, learn a new language, learn a new skill, do whatever. But employment and food should be available to every citizen in the world in their language. But yet, if we know only Punjabi today in Punjab, you hardly get anything. And that is why I feel the real issue of Punjab cannot be solved by painting billboards, but actually by creating a market which is Punjabi. And for that, Punjabi language is the 9th biggest language in the world. And why aren't we looking at it? More than 100 million people speak it in this Punjab and that Punjab. And if we do not try to bring this market of Punjabi together with help from East Punjab, West Punjab, the diaspora Punjab, all the communities involved in it, we will just be gobbled up by a nation state which is becoming very, very ironically, Hindutva, Hindu Rashtra. And Punjabi identity will be lost if we allow this thing to grow on and on. We have to find a way of being able to handle it. And that is the crisis of Punjab, as not as identity, but as people themselves, a way of life. Then there is this chapter, which to me was very important, and it was also hinted by Satpal Danishji. And those are the very visible corpses of Punjab, but disappeared. We don't know where the corpses are. And that is the period of what is called the dark decade and a half of Punjab, the period of militancy, and the period of gross human rights violations by the state, and for which there has been no accountability at all. And I feel this wound keeps simmering in Punjab. Just like there have been some cases and some people are thrown in jail, but no biggies about the anti-Sikh pogrom in 1984. Similarly, there has nothing really happened on these cases of disappearances and enforced killings. And to me, that is very critical to talk about, to heal Punjab and to heal the trust in Punjab, the trust that has broken right from Operation Blue Star between the state and the citizen. So these are what I think are the main issues of Punjab. At the same time, somebody might want to add more, somebody might want to reduce two of them, that is fine. But I wanted, and the Panjab Dialogues, we all wanted to start our conversation with laying out this ground so that as per our choices, as per our intentions, we can join in anywhere we want to. The last aspect of my talk is two or three things again about the chapterization in terms of nuanced and layered is that once you start reading it, you will see I'm using strengths of both being a fiction writer as well as a non-fiction writer to not really reveal all the sources from which I'm getting all the information. And yet they are very credibly written. So nobody can really say this is wrong or this is a lie. That is something that works in the book. Second is, at no point did I want to make the book a pornography of pain, because that is a very common way in which most these days what is considered good writing happens, mostly from the American school of writing and all that. But I didn't want to do a pornography of pain. And that is why if I'm talking about suicide, you know what suicide is. If I'm talking about extrajudicial killing, you know what it is. If I'm talking about enforced disappearance, you know what it is. I don't really have to show this mother crying away or weeping and to make sense to you. The last aspect is, what did the book do to me? At one level, it taught me how to compile data, which I had like thousands and thousands of files and information. And I was very surprised that most newspapers, if you look at them, over the last 15, 20 years, have almost all the data that you don't really get in government files. Some newspapers, some story would publish data on this, on that aspect of it, and you can read through 5-7 articles to come to an arrival of numbers of Punjab. But unfortunately, they are not available in one source, which is where I would have wanted to find them. So it helped me compile data. It also drove me into depression. And that I think is very important to note even about Punjab. Mental health incidence is really high in Punjab. And this is partly from the disquiet in the society, the environmental reasons, the factors like that. When we talk that boys or girls are doing drugs, they are also trying to escape something. They're trying to run away from something. And unless those conditions are improved, you will not be able to keep them, from doing these things, because human being needs either to struggle or to escape. And if you are just keeping them log jammed, they can't do anything. So it drove me into depression, and in some ways I write myself out of depression, which is what I did. And finally, it taught me not to judge, but to empathize. And I hope if this book can help you do that, that would be the greatest thing. Because we don't need to vilify Punjab. We don't need to demonize it. the way it has been done in history. One of the reasons why I wrote it, because when I was a kid, my father in Rourkela in Odisha, everybody called us Sardar Ji, which was like, I would ask Papa, why are they calling us Sardar Ji? And he would say, because we are considered the farmers, the transporters, the soldiers of the country. And then suddenly, before it,
Amandeep, you're breaking up.
I think he dropped off. So what we'll be doing is like a Q&A after this. So all of you can think of your questions and just type it on the chat window. And we have Jasdeep here who can pick up some questions from there and ask Amanji. Yeah. So feel free to write your questions on the chat window till Amandeep joins back.
Jasdeep, I have a question. Are you?
Please type,
one second,
type it in
I'm
the chat.
here. Just make two concluding remarks.
Yes, right.
Can I just conclude?
Yes, Amanji. Yes.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, so just last 2 or 3 things that I want to say is, one, I feel that unless we look at Punjab as a post-conflict land, we are not going to be able to retrain our eyes to look at the issues that Punjab has. We have spent way too long fighting the identity battles, and they don't take us anywhere. Our politics is based on identity battles. It doesn't go anywhere. Unless we look at Punjab as a post-conflict land, unless we lower down our guns and start looking at each other and trying to empathize and with tolerance and with trying to build something, we are not really going to solve Punjab. Second, I think is, and coronavirus again shows us one more time yet again, that for a state like India, federalism is the way to go. States need to have more power, more capacity to be able to take their own decisions. And unless we push for that, we are not going to get anywhere, because we can't let the center trample all upon us all the time. And for that, I feel as a larger Punjabi diaspora, as well as Punjab here and Punjab, Pakistan, I would be, like we have just started these dialogues on Punjab, I would be very happy the way we can start a bank around Punjab, because the way the central government keeps its hold on Punjab is by being its biggest customer, by procuring its grain. And so we keep looking at the center all the time. But we need to start looking at other ways of being able to distinguish ourselves as a Punjab region, as a Punjab people, which does not really have to do so much with the nation as it is right now. With that, let us keep it open. Let us open the discussion. I would be very thankful if Jasdeep could streamline the questions and ask me, because then I'll be able to answer easier.
Hi, hello. Thanks for such a wonderful presentation. Amandeep. It was really illuminating.
Jasdeep, you need to speak up.
Am I? Oh, am I audible better?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
So thanks, Amandeep, for such a nice presentation. And I have sort of coordinated some questions and answers, but what you have said in the conclusion is very important, that we need to understand Punjab as a post-conflict state, and we do need to have an empathetic emotion to deal with the issues we face. So from the questions which are there in the forms and from what I see here and what we have, I'll start with the one which we have not been able to tackle in your presentation. It is also mostly related with immigration and brain drain. It has two sort of like aspects. One is it's not immigration abroad, it's also to immigration to let's say Bangalore, Delhi, or anyone, an educated person goes and contributes to the economy there. And so why does Punjab push away such people? And they have also have a lot of people have asked what we can do, what lawyers can do, what urban dwellers can do, what experts can do. So since you have traveled across Punjab for 4 years or something, what would you suggest them to do?
Oh my God, that is huge. You know, like one big, there are 2 or 3 levels at which you can catch a writer, basically. One is if the writer has written authentically or not, you know, and I hope I've crossed that level at least. Second is what are the writer's thoughts? And third is what solutions the writer has to give to the world. I hope I'm not disappointing anybody, but I have no solutions to offer as of now, except sharing thoughts with you and to bringing us together in some ways so that we can mutually brainstorm and come to. So if there are lawyers, if there are, you know, teachers, if there are doctors, if there are professionals like that who are interested in Punjab, thank you, welcome, most welcome. Let's join a discussion. And that is exactly why we have created this framework. Because again, let's not be reductive in trying to simplify and solve Punjab. It won't get solved that easy. Huh? It's a very tough beast. And we have to work through it very, very slowly. So let us get together. And that to me is the biggest gain if we can have it. Please register with the email ID given to you. Let's form Google groups. Let's start discussions and we will get, it really won't take that long as well. The most important thing in the current structure is when politicians come and try to distract us and make us vote on the basis of what they set as agenda. I hope that through this dialogue, we people set the agenda for the politicians, and then we see who is going to deliver on it. That is more important than anything else from this situation.
Okay, so second question I have collated is related to this organic agriculture. A lot of people have asked, how can we fix agriculture? Again, organic agriculture, how can we do about it? And it is not entirely related, but a lot of people have also asked the role of left movements, if you can talk about that. And since we are talking about agri-society and rural people, so one question Shveer has asked is if you can talk a little bit about party bazi, which is like if state or any organization tries to do something, and if it what are the channels it can reach people, because there is in every town, every village, there is this channel that you have to go through. There is party bazi that you have to go to either one of them, and other party will remain lacking. So
yeah. No,
organic agriculture and this.
Yeah, we are mixing 3 questions here. Let's
3 questions.
We also want to experiment a little bit with rooms, right? So we are just 1 hour into the talk. So I have 10 minutes more to answer. Very, very frankly, Jasdeep, remember one night we were going to pick up Malti and we talked this on the road, right? We were driving. And Jasdeep's, it is actually Jasdeep's idea. What is really lacking, I've seen a lot of initiative in natural farming. I've seen a lot of, let's not even call it organic, because actually Captain changed the meaning of organic in his last term, you know. So, but at least natural farming. But it is all over the place. And it's very important that farmers are getting into it. But there are also very, very big issues with it. And one of the things that Jasdeep and I had discussed, that there is no grading of produce. How does one say if one has been natural farmer for 1 year and somebody for 5 years and somebody for 10 years? How do we say that all three wheats are of the same quality, or whether there has been lesser and lesser pesticides? We need that kind of grading of produce, which is not happening. My great hope really from this government was that when Baba Nanak's 550th anniversary comes, which came last November, we will announce a framework of natural farming for Punjab. Our leader will say that, okay, give me 10 years and I will move at least 50% of Punjab's agriculture from pesticide-driven, fertilizer-driven towards natural-driven. And we'll make a framework of how to grade produce, we'll push the agriculture university to participate in it, to develop models and how they can. But it's such a failure, utter failure, that it is not happening. And I'm now seeing farmers actually turn back from natural farming because the production is lesser. Of course, the rates are higher, but the productions are lesser. So let us trap that cycle even before it starts. Anybody who has moved, let us be able to keep them at least in natural. And for that, the state has to participate. And again, we need energies from everybody to be able to do that. Second, party baji, yes, Ashvir, very right. I mean, that is why we keep jumping, because there was a two-party system forever. And I've said it in the book very explicitly that the Congress and the Akalis, they made a fort called Punjab, whose walls were made of language. And then they just never let anybody in, and they kept trampling upon people. In between, for 5 years at one stretch, there was suddenly president's rule in the state. This is draconian. This is the worst thing that can happen. And the third party that tried to come in 1.5, 2 years back, I hope there are people who worked with AAP who understood how it worked inside. And I was looking at them from outside very, very closely. You would realize the gaps that were happening on the ground. Even look at this Delhi elections. The issue really is, forget Kejriwal himself, which I think is a big problem with AAP, but the issue really is they are not doing the due diligence of going down to the lowest level at which the problems originate in Punjab. You know, it's like I'm a patient, Punjab is a patient, and the doctor hasn't even done the diagnosis and has already given the prescription medicine. That will never happen. It will never work. So there is a ripe space. I think the Akalis are really down, but yet they are not fully out because you don't want them out. It just serves the powers in being that you keep a skeleton of an opposition around, and then you can win the next elections as well. And the bus and the bajri and the thekas, they don't go away from them. They remain with the Akalis. So the transport mafia works. So we have to cut through this crap that is going on. No? Left, I think Bhagwan Joshji did a very good work on it. He did a very big book on it. Again, Jasdeep gave me that book. That's why I say Jasdeep is the Jathedar of Punjab arts. You know, but I think I have dealt with the left in some depth in the book. I would urge you to read it because this is really not a lecture on left in Punjab. But do understand, I went back to see something which is from my grandfather's story. And everybody blames the left for everything, but it doesn't happen in a void. If you look at that story, in the 1920s, India was of two kinds. One was under princely states, one was under the direct British dominion. The princely states were fighting within each state against what was called Biswedari system. And this fight was taken ahead by the Congress and the Praja Mandal in the 1920s. And the Akalis, fresh from the Gurdwara movement, also jumped into it. And the Akalis were very successful in that was a movement against the Maharaja of Patiala. It was in the southern, what is mostly Malwa today, that belt. Some of it is in Haryana, like Jeend is in Haryana today. But the Mansa area was, Kishangarh village was very, very important in that movement. And suddenly in 1935, when Seva Singh Thikriwala had passed away, and the Akalis made a compromise with the Maharaja of Patiala, and they withdrew from the movement. And the Congress also withdrew from the movement because there were more important things to do, like fight for independence of India. And that is a void they created, in which the left stepped in. The Kirti Kisan Party came. Also, the Gadri Babas had come back from North America at that time. So this is the spaces in which the left started its work in Punjab. It was very aligned to the Muzara movement. And then that became the Lal Party. Then Teja Singh Swatantar comes in. My grandfather joins hands with them. We get ejected out from the village next to Jasdeep's village. So there are things happen in that story. But I was trying to trace that you can't say left is all state or all this or all that. Nobody is any one thing. So it's a much more nuanced story. It's a much longer story. But always know that it is current formations that when they withdraw or they leave empty spaces, that newer formations come into those. And that is the kind of time Punjab is again seeing right now.
Okay. So thanks again. I'll ask another question, which is also related to book. Somebody has also pointed it out that it doesn't talk about the urban society of Punjab much. And if you can talk a little bit about the industry, or somebody has asked the question that why IT and ITS service industry is not setting up their base in Punjab, and also a little bit on Chandigarh. And
Chandigarh I have covered in the book. Frankly, Chandigarh is a planet unto itself. And Chandigarh has a whole different thing going on. Read the book and you might enjoy those sections. You might also blame me for it, for writing that way, but I felt it needed to be said. Yes, I did not go too much in. Okay, do remember always the caveat I have to give it. 80,000 words were taken out of the book. This was already 550 pages. We could not have gone on rambling and rambling about Punjab, only when I did this book, I realized what a vast ocean Punjab is, and no book can do justice to it. And there is always another book coming. Industry, I did not focus too much. I remember some parts went into that. I actually met the Bharati Mazdoor Union, Mazdoor Sabha, what is it called? Sangh, Mazdoor Sangh, and I went high up into them to talk to them. Met some industrialists as well. But then we realized that once we are saying it repeatedly that heavy industry is not in Punjab, then that statement is made. You really don't have to say it again and again through interviews. But it is a big gap in Punjab's economical structure that we have only small scale industry, and that too has been fleeing. I spent a lot of time in Tajpur area in Ludhiana, talking to what we call as Pravasi Mazdoor and Bhaiyas, which I was also called a Bhaiya because I was born in Odisha. All my life I know that pain. I think they are a very significant part of Punjab, and I feel very little is written about them. And now they are leaving. And not only leaving because of this coronavirus or because of other anxieties, but they're leaving because there are other more lucrative places for them to go to, like Gujarat and Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And here is labor that we could not really keep back in the state. And that is again another pathos of Punjab. Some of that labor has grown, of course. I mean, the Jagannath Puja and Yatra in Ludhiana is huge. There are some constituencies which have a larger number of migrant population. But then these are stories after stories after stories of Punjab. One can't do everything in one book.
Okay. So I'll ask the last question and then whatever Ankit says. So it is a question by Mauricio, and it is if you can talk about social distancing and caste. And I'll also ask something Aneet Randhawa asked, any opportunities in the post-corona setup. So if you can talk a little bit about caste and also the COVID, how Punjab is fighting COVID, and what do you see post-COVID, particularly in Punjab perspective?
In some ways, I'm very uncomfortable with this idea of, I'm very uncomfortable with the word social distancing. I mean, that is completely a no-no for me. It is actually physical distancing, if at all. But I still haven't really settled on what I really think about how it is changing. It is actually reinstating something that we have fought so hard to get out of, no? Like this untouchability and, you know, this discrimination against each other. And I really, it's too fresh for me still. We are still going through it. I don't have a perspective on it. I was very heartbroken to see how Nirmalji Khalsa was treated by his village, who did not give him a funeral in the village, or whether in Amritsar also, wherever. But it was very unfortunate that that happened. And it's also a stark reality. Many say that caste, oh, maybe in some Malwa it exists, but it is not in Majha. It is everywhere. I mean, Doaba, of course, is the center of it. Most of the work on caste in Punjab has happened in and around Jalandhar. At the same time, look at Jalandhar, the Doaba area. When we were traveling before elections, we were seeing so many jatheras in Doaba, no? And that is another very big aspect of how caste plays out, you know, because it's always a complex phenomena. I'm very uncomfortable still with this whole idea of distancing. What did Mauricio, what Aneet asked about opportunities. You know, I feel there is a huge opportunity, not in terms of taking benefit of anything or anything like that. But 2 years back, the Niti Aayog, after Punjab has served the country for 55, 60 years, it came up very blandly and told Punjab, oh, we don't need food security. You don't have to give us your wheat or your paddy and anything like that. And frankly, everybody was flabbergasted with it. Because in some place, Manpreet Badal had built his whole narrative on economy on the basis that India needs food and Punjab produces food. And here was a slap from the Modi government on Punjab's face. And that is why in the beginning also I said, and now again Punjab will stand. But would it stand on some terms of its own? Would it take this fight to the center and do it there? Because Sukhdev Kokri Kalanji is on my WhatsApp and he kept sending me, you know, input from the farmer movements in Punjab. Otherwise, others are also, Lakshman Sevawala sends. And I'm seeing that the prices are being changed. You know, things had to change at another level. What you are doing is you're using the state energy against the farmers who are giving you their crop. Instead, you should have channelized this energy and taken it to the center and fought with them and said, here is Punjab, idiots, here is Punjab sitting between hunger and you. Give us a better deal. I don't know why Punjab doesn't get together and do it. That is what is required. You know, so that will change definitely. I don't know yet of what else will change. We have to see. It's still too early in the COVID cycle. I think this is not going away anywhere for a year and a half. Huh? That's very clear to me. I mean, until there is a vaccination. Lockdown might go away. The numbers might move from the front page to the 7th page. But deaths and illnesses will keep happening.
Okay. So I have one last question and then Ankit will take up. I have talked to him, which is 10 years down the line, what the best do you think for Punjab? What you see the best possibility, whatever can work out for Punjab, and what is the worst can happen in Punjab? So your hope for after 10 years and your fear, worst fear, best hope and worst fear. If you can, since you have traveled, written a book, you must project something.
No, I must not project anything. I'm very cagey about doing future prognosis.
Your own personal opinion. So it's not like you are not giving a solution.
There is tremendous hope and tremendous recognition that it might be betrayed. But the tremendous hope I have is that if not now, then when? Because, I mean, as you were talking with Preeti ji earlier, one generation felt prey to militancy, another generation felt prey to drugs, and the third generation is falling prey to migration. And everybody is just abandoning Punjab, and this does not help us in any way. What my great hope is that if this Punjab and that Punjab, West Punjab, and this ecosystem of Punjabi language comes together in some ways, and we can, and we have to take a very cold call on this. I mean, as of now, you know, I mean, I've repeatedly said this in the book also. Yes, there was militancy. Yes, there was a dream. Yes, there was, you know, an aspiration for a state. All that was armed with guns. Thousands and thousands died. You know, Hindus died, Sikhs died. Relationships got messed up. Police became a big force in it. Judiciary abdicated its role. The system collapsed, you know. But what was that fight for? It was for a religion-based country. And look at India now. Without any of that fight, very democratically, they are becoming a religion-based country. And that is the irony of Punjab. You know, so we have to really find our ways in which how we do not let this take over us. We cannot let a Hindu Rashtra crush the Punjabi people. You know, and Punjabi people, believe me, I mean, I live 2,500 kilometers from Punjab, right? I see much less similarity between a regular Kannada person and a regular Punjabi person than I see 10 feet away from each other across the border in Punjab, right? I mean, that Punjab and this Punjab is one Punjab. And I am hoping that through this COVID kind of things, if national governments decide to descale, you know, defense expenditure, actually spend on building people and creating peaceful neighborhoods, we might actually salvage what is really left, because state is, I mean, the situation is quite dire, and I hope we can salvage it.
Okay. Ankit, you can take over.
Yes, Sat Sri Akal Aman, Sat Sri Akal ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜਸਦੀਪ। ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਜਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਅਮਨ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਮੋਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਬੁੱਕ ਟੂਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਪੂਰੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਯਾਤਰਾ ਤੇ ਸੀਗਾ। ਬਠਿੰਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਜਲੰਧਰ ਤੱਕ ਮੈਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਸਾਈਕਲ ਚਲਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਬਥੇਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਿਤਾਬ 'ਚ ਲਿਖੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੀਆਂ। ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸੋਚ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰੀਏ, ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਈਏ ਤੇ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਰਿਐਲਿਟੀ ਬਣਾਈਏ, ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਸੋਹਣੀ ਜੀ ਤਸਵੀਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਈਏ। ਅੱਜ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਆਪਾਂ। ਤੇ ਕੱਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਰਾਤੀ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਦੇ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭੇਜ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਸਦੀਪ ਨੇ ਹੁਣੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਦੇ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਤੇ ਆਈ ਹੋਪ ਉਹਨਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ। ਇਸ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਬੜੇ ਫਾਇਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਬਾਉਂਡਰੀਜ਼ ਬੈਰੀਅਰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ, ਕੋਈ ਬੰਗਲੌਰ ਤੋਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਉੜੀਸਾ ਤੋਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹੋਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਬਟ ਕਈ ਇਸ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਦੇ ਲਿਮਿਟੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਈਏ ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਚਾਹ ਵੀ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਪੀ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਵੀ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਇੱਕ ਐਕਸਪੈਰੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਸੋਚੀ ਹੈ। ਆਪਾਂ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਆਊਟ ਰੂਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਜ਼ੂਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਪਾਂ 4-5 ਜਣਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਬਣਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਆਟੋਮੈਟਿਕਲੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ, 1 ਮਿੰਟ ਲੱਗੂਗਾ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਘੱਟ। ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਸ ਆਪਣੀ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਕਸ਼ਨ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਕੌਣ ਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਆਇਆ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਆਪਣਾ ਨਾਮ, ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਸ ਬੈਕਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਨਿੱਕਾ ਜਿਹਾ, ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਇਸ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀ ਇਸ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਬਾਰੇ, ਇਸ ਡਾਇਲੌਗ ਬਾਰੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਾਂ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਹੋਇਆ, ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਇਆ। ਤੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਲਿਜਾਣ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਈਡੀਆਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ੂਜ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੰਗੇਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਤੇ 4-5 ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦਾ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਬਣੇਗਾ, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨਾਲ, ਨਵੇਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲ ਲਈਏ, ਨਵੇਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਮਾਈਂਡਡ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ 10-15 ਮਿੰਟ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ, ਮੇਬੀ ਚੈਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਐਂਡ ਦੈਟ ਵਿਲ ਹੈਲਪ ਅਸ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਇਸ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਲਿਜਾਣਾ। if that's all right with you, मैं सिमरन ਨੂੰ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰੂੰਗਾ ਕਿ ਗਰੁੱਪਸ ਬਣਾ ਦੇਣ ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੇ 5-7 ਮਿੰਟ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ ਤੇ ਆਈ ਹੋਪ ਇਟਸ ਫਾਈਨ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਅਰਜੈਂਟਲੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਇਆ 12:30 ਵਜੇ ਤੇ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਓਕੇ ਯੂ ਕੈਨ ਡ੍ਰੌਪ ਬਟ ਬੀਅਰ ਵਿਦ ਅਸ ਫॉर 5-7 more minutes ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ 12:35 12:40 ਤੱਕ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਕੈਨ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਦ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਆਊਟ ਰੂਮਸ ਓਪਨ
yeah
ਮੈਂ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੇਸਟ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਆਊਟ ਰੂਮ ਦੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਕਰੀਨਸ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਾਣਗੇ ਐਜ਼ ਅ ਬ੍ਰੌਡਕਾਸਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਲਿੰਕ ਆਏਗਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਸ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਯੂ ਵਿਲ immediately be transported into a new world, new people in a small group. It's like a magic when I did it for the first time.
ਲੋਕਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਅੰਕਿਤ
ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 10 ਤੋਂ 12 ਮਿੰਟ just let us know when they're open Simran
yeah
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਚੋਂ ਕਈ ਜੇ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾਏ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲਿੰਕ ਆਇਆ ਹੋਣਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ज्योति ओस्मान इंदरबीर Simran, see if you can assign them to a breakout room on your own, everyone here. ਇੰਦਰਬੀਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਆਊਟ ਰੂਮ ਦਾ ਲਿੰਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਉੱਥੇ? ਅਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਉੱਥੇ? Simran, maybe send a broadcast message saying 5 more minutes. You're on mute, Simran.
In 3 minutes, it will anyway like end like 3 minutes.
Oh, ऐसे है, ठीक है. Just message na 3 more minutes or 2 more minutes kind, so that it doesn't end abruptly for them. And Preeti, when everyone comes back, I'll ask them to share their experiences on the chat, or maybe their thoughts on the chat, and then we give them 5 minutes to do that. Everyone, we keep talking till then, and then you can close. Yeah.
I should close.
Preeti will close. I said Simran. Sorry, I meant Preeti.
I'll do the general kind of closing some remarks from what Amandeep said, and a couple of things which came out while these questions were also going on. And then, do you want to do a wrap of some of this, or we don't need that?
Yeah. No, I'll do a wrap. I'll quickly do a wrap. And then I'll hand it over to you, and then you can close.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a minute or two, people will start coming back. This person, Indarbeer, is not here maybe. Indarbeer, तुसी आवाज आ रही है ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ? सोनिया जी, तो आवाज आ रही है?
Hello.
हाँ जी, ठीक है.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Sonia ji. Yes, I thought ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦਿੱਕਤ ਆਈ ਬ੍ਰੇਕਆਊਟ ਰੂਮ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ?
ਨਹੀਂ breakout room ਚ ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਚਲੇ ਗਈ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰਾ audio off ਸੀਗਾ, so I went to do the settings and then I got exited out of the breakout room, so having a little, but now I think I figured this out.
Yeah, it's a technology for the first time.
I know. Yeah.
Simran, how much time to go?
So my name is K.S. Gill. Can you hear me?
Yes, Sat Sri Akal ji.
I was in a breakout room, but I got disconnected from there, so I joined back, and that is how I'm on the screen. Otherwise,
Sure.
my breakout room was with Anurag Sharma.
Okay जी. ते तुसी कित्थों गल कर रहे हो केएस गिल जी?
अंकित मैं तो जानता है, मैं प्रीति का husband है.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, we have met before.
And I'm a so.
Okay, we'll pause here. Yeah, people have started to come back. Yeah.
Great look, Kulvinder ji.
Oh, Sat Sri Akal, Tarandeep, ki haal hai?
Yes.
Chaddi Kala, I'm fine. Wonderful session, Ankit, Simran, Preeti ji, Jasdeep.
Thanks, Tarun.
Yes, people have started coming back, but जब तक लोग वापस आ रहे हैं, I will suggest कि आज दे session ते तोड़े जो भी experiences रहे हैं, breakout room दे तोड़े जो भी तनु whatever was emerged for you जो भी अपने दिलों आया हैगा, ये तुसी chat दे विच सारे ना साझा कर सकते हो ता.
पूरा सो पहचानिए जो लरे दीन के हेत, पुरजा कट मरे कबू न छाटे खेत.
बहुत बढ़िया सर जी, मुझे समझ में तो नहीं आया, एक दो केवल मैं वर्ड समझ पाई, बट बहुत ही बढ़िया लगा सुन के ये कोट.
Thank you. Let's use the chat experience so that क्योंकि अपन सारे तो नहीं अपन शेयर कर सकते बोल के हले भी अपन फिगर आउट कर रहे हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी ਨੂੰ कितना चंगी तरह यूज करिए, बट जो भी ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਦਿਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ breakout room ਚ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਸਮਝ ਆਇਆ
Most important thing, what Aman ji and a couple of others were in the breakout room, that Punjab ਦੇ issues ਜੋ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਣਾ. ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ constantly in conversations and we're trying to understand each other even better, and to stay put, to kind of deciding to stay put, to make that conscious effort, to make that tangible effort. And Anurag, Seetal ji, that is what it means. कि कट मरेंगे, पुर्जा काटे जाए तो भी खेत नहीं छोड़ेंगे, लड़ाई का मैदान नहीं छोड़ेंगे.
Okay, thank you, Tarun ji.
I think the other thing that we were discussing in the room, was that the narrative needs to, take a step back. A lot of the narratives that we've seen within the circles is mostly reactive. There's a narrative that is thrown, and then the narratives are built in reaction to that. Like, when we talk about drugs or a bunch of other things. A very simple thing that we were talking was the commonality between the natives. In Canada, for example, and the drug addiction and the drug addiction in Punjab. And don't look at the drug addiction, but look at why is it happening? Is it lack of hope? Because the same kids, when they come to North America, they do really well. They are blossoming. So we need to, I think one of the things that within the sessions that we found is like narratives need to be taken, we need to take a step back and not just do reactive narratives and not just focus on that. Thanks.
Thank you. ਹੋਰ ਕੋਈ ਆਪਣਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਚੈਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ? ਤਾਰਿਕਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ how it needs to be better collaboration between Punjabis to talk about their issues and let their voices be heard in India. Thank you, Tarika.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜਸਮੀਤ ਜੀ. Yes, ਜਸਮੀਤ ਜੀ.
ਅੰਕਿਤ, ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਗਿਆ ਔਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ breakup groups ਬਣਾਏ ਨੇ. I would love to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmeet ji.
ਅੱਗੇ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਸਾਰੀ, ਅੱਗੇ ਚੱਲਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਲੂਸ਼ਨ ਲੱਭਾਂਗੇ.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ. ਹਿਮਾਂਸ਼ੂ ਤੋਂ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ let's start working according to categories and we can move ahead according to our interests. Thank you, Himanshu. ਪਰਮਜੀਤ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੋਕੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੈਕਟਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੈ. Thank you, ਪਰਮਜੀਤ. let's hear more experiences. Yes, I know there's, this was the first time that ਆਪਾਂ ਵੀ figure out ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਨੂੰ interactive ਬਣਾਈਏ, dialogic ਬਣਾਈਏ, but at the same time the richness that somebody like Amandeep brings in, we balance that. Yes, the dialogue we will continue. Intention ਇਹਦਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ Google group ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਚੋਂ ਫਾਰਮ ਭਰਿਆ ਤੇ yes ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਆਪਾਂ Google group ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਐਡ ਕਰ ਲਾਂਗੇ. So of course the dialogues will continue. More people will come and interact with us.
Ankit, can you hear me? I'm Jaspreet Pannu here.
Yes, Jaspreet ji, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really very interested to know, are there any cooperative groups working in Punjab? Because I don't see any cooperative movement as such. Because we have a lot of small time farmers, small time dairy people, you know, who can, and especially post-COVID scenes, if they can come together, you know, I would really like to be part of any such initiative.
Yes, Jaspreet ji, after this, as we get added to the Sanjhi Sikhiya Google group, you can ask this question there. There are definitely some people who are running cooperatives, especially in Patiala, I know. We'll definitely connect on that, yes. I see you filled the form, so you'll be added to the group and you can take it there.
Okay, I'll discuss it with Preeti also, because I have been looking at something like this for a long time. There are a few inputs that I can have for them and maybe be a part.
This is the energy exactly we need, Jaspreet ji. I mean, we should not, as Amandeep said, na, ki change le aani hai, the ideas will interact karange, engage karange, collaborate karange. That's the spirit with which we are here. Okay, I'll hand it over to Preeti from here. Preeti, if you would like to close it for all of us.
Thank you, Ankit. Thank you, everybody. I think as a first meeting, this was really excellent. We had a real large number of people. I think 135 people joined, and it's great to see the energy and the enthusiasm with which all these questions were coming out. So I think it's going to be quite easy and simple for us to actually take this group forward and work on all the many ideas that have already come out. I would request that everybody should send their questions, because a lot of very interesting questions were there on the chat which was going on throughout. And all of these questions are critical, because हर एक question के साथ I think जो हमारी discussion होगी वो और भी broad based हो जाएगी, far reaching हो जाएगी. And many of the things जो शायद हमने नहीं सोची हुई हैं, those kind of ideas will come forward from the group. And that is the whole plan, that we should enlarge it. And then the other thing which came out very strongly is that we citizens actually need to get together. So if governments are abdicating, I think there is space for us to come through. Some of the things that came out for me from Amandeep's very, very wonderful, lucid talk, I will put those down very quickly for you here. I think there's, of course, the fact that there's a clear gap between reality of Punjab and its representation. But the answers too are at hand. If Punjab and the center want to pay attention to them, is what came out from, of course, the book, but also from what he was saying, because those things are there. We need to see them and we should act on them. Then, as he said, Punjab has seen one generation lost to militancy, second to drugs, and at present there's loss of especially young people, because a lot of migration has been happening, and a lot of that came out in the questions as well. Something he says is standing on corroded soil, depleted of water, looking for new directions, new voices, new leadership. And I hope that is what he writes in his book, and I hope that that is what we have taken away also from our interaction today. So the urgent need is, of course, rebuilding. And this is the call that we are sending to, you can hear my dog in the background, I'm sorry. So this is the...
She is wonderful and we love listening to her, as we do to you.
So this is a call that we are sending out to all Punjabis in India and outside to come together and bring their energy, their passion, and let's construct a new narrative, which is truthful and transparent, inclusive and just. I think those are the things that are lacking. in most of our political parties and the kind of stuff, agendas that they put out. So let's try and do that. Concentrate on education, on health, infrastructure. You heard about the 13 issues that Amandeep put out. And again, let us not restrict to this book. We need to take each of those up as questions that we will go forward on. Now, this is something terribly personal, which I want to say, which is that I've been an editor, and in publishing, I've been a publishing professional for many, many years. I would like to collect many of these stories, actually, which are coming out from the ground. Each one here who put out a question probably has a story. I think we should put them together at some point as well. I liked what he said about Punjab being an outlier state, a border state, because there are many vulnerabilities that come along with being a border state. Again, at a later stage, maybe a year or so down the line, we could explore this with other border states of this country. I like the way he ended, because he talked about empathy and not judgment, and that is what we need. So wherever we feel that the state is abdicating, maybe citizens need to step in. Once again, thank you. I think this is an excellent group, and thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you, guys. जसदीप, सिमरन, प्रीति, मेरे बतौर सब नु जेड़े भी इत्थे आए, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Goodbye. Goodbye, Jasdeep. Goodbye, Tarun.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Sat Shri Akal. Have a nice day.
I don't want to leave because I want to read chat now here. Yeah.
Yes, you can.
If everybody leaves, keep the session on. I'll
even
I am doing the chat. Yeah.
Jaspreet, so good to hear your voice, Jaspreet.
Likewise, same here. It's fantastic to connect to everyone and hear everyone as well. Thank you.
By the way, Jaspreet has joined us from Netherlands today. Thank you, Jaspreet, for making time.
Thank you, Jaspreet.
Absolute pleasure.
ये लोगों का जान दा मन नहीं कर रहा.
नहीं मैं chat पढ़नी है यार. I hope I can scroll it. Can it be scrolled?
Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't save the chat anymore. But please be here. Please be here for as long as you want. We'll not close it.
I don't know how to scroll. नहीं यार scroll नहीं करने दे रहा.
Really, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए.
चलो, but you would have collected the questions and the notes and all that, no?
Yeah.
We'll be able to see. Right. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Aman. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Você é o